Bakit bigla naging usapin tong panukala na magtayo ang US ng isang pabrika ng mga armas at pampasabog sa Subic Bay? Base po yan sa rekomendasyon ng US Congressional Appropriations Committee na mas maging magtayo ang US ng isang forward ammunition manufacturing site sa Subic Bay.
U.S. governments cater to commonality of production of munitions, which is at a worldwide shortage at this time.
Is the Philippines about to become America's new weapons factory in Asia? In a move that's making waves across the Indo-Pacific, the US and the Philippines have officially sealed the deal to build a joint ammunition production and storage facility in Subic Bay, a place already steeped in military history. But this isn't a throwback to the Cold War. This is a next-gen military strategy unfolding in real time. As regional tensions rise, this facility is being seen as a game changer for defense, and the timing couldn't be more calculated.
Remain inside of that target area. These areas to include Area Charlie, which is short of the target area. Our mission. Our mission.
Number 2, 1 round.
Number two, one round.
Why Subic Bay? Because where you build power matters. Subic isn't just a dot on the map. It's the perfect strategic launch pad sitting near the South China Sea, close to Taiwan, and deep within the Indo-Pacific flashpoint zone. That means faster deployment, quicker supply chains, and tighter security coordination between Philippines and US forces. And here's the kicker. The facility is expected to churn out over 7 million rounds of ammunition per year by 2026, all to NATO and US military standards. This isn't just about production, it's about positioning. What's in it for the Philippines? A lot more than bullets. This deal brings tech transfer, skilled jobs, and a seat at the high-stakes defense table. We're not just storing ammo, we're building national strength, said one Filipino official. For decades, Philippines has been seen as a secondary player in regional defense talks. But now, it's stepping into a leadership role, co-producing the very tools of deterrence that will shape the balance of power in the years to come. The country is no longer a bystander, it's a builder of defense credibility. Could this be Washington's smartest Indo-Pacific move yet? With China expanding its naval footprint and pushing boundaries in the West Philippine Sea, the US is responding without firing a shot. Pre-positioning ammunition in Subic cuts down military response time from weeks to days, giving US forces a major logistical advantage. It's like having the keys to the ignition before the race starts. A senior defense analyst even called it the Pentagon's stealthiest but smartest move of 2025. It's quiet now, but it won't stay quiet for long. The numbers tell a powerful story. Philippines, US joint military exercises are up over 30% this year, and over $100 million has already been invested in defense infrastructure upgrades under EDCA. The ammo facility folds directly into this bigger strategy. It's not a standalone deal, it's part of a military ecosystem that gives the US flexibility and gives the Philippines long-term leverage. This is not just about what happens during war. It's about shaping the region to prevent one. Is the Philippines the next major defense manufacturing hub in Asia? That's what insiders are whispering, and with good reason. Talks are already in motion about expanding this cooperation to drones, surveillance systems, and cyber defense operations. The Philippines is no longer just hosting bases, it's creating capability, piece by piece. The geopolitical value of Subic is rising, and so is the country's global defense relevance. This is also a win for ordinary Filipinos. People in Zambales province, where the facility will be located, are already expecting an economic revival. New jobs, new training centers, and support industries are lining up. One local said, "This isn't just about defense, it's about opportunity." In a time when many countries are choosing sides in silence, the Philippines is choosing strategy and getting rewarded. What happens next? That's the part no one wants to miss. As the region braces for more uncertainty, from Taiwan tensions to maritime aggression, the Philippines-US alliance is no longer just symbolic. It's operational, it's productive. And with this ammo facility, it's locked and loaded for whatever comes next. The world should take note, Subic Bay is back on the map, and this time, it's not just a base, it's a message. Why is Subic Bay suddenly back in the global defense spotlight? The answer lies in its unmatched strategic location. Once a sprawling U.S. naval base, Subic is now set to become the core of a PHUS ammunition production facility, located just off the highly contested South China Sea. This isn't just about land, it's about leverage. Subic gives both countries a forward-deployed position with a fast response radius over key flashpoints like Taiwan, the West Philippine Sea, and even the broader Indo-Pacific. We're not just responding to threats, we're rebuilding forward power. From the U.S. perspective, this facility answers a long-standing gap, the lack of a forward-staged ammunition production hub in the Indo-Pacific. It's a strategic necessity that's been in the pipeline for months, but now it's official. For the Philippines, it's even deeper. This aligns directly with its self-reliant defense posture, SRDP program, a national initiative to become less dependent on foreign military supply chains. President Marcos Jr. hit the point home on July 23, 2025. Even if we did not get help, we'd be doing this anyway. That's not dependence, that's determination. Where's the money coming from? Follow the investment trail. This isn't some token aid package, it's a foreign direct investment FDI-driven project with funding backed by U.S. congressional allocations. The model is commercially structured, meaning it won't just create weapons, it'll generate revenue and trade flows. According to Philippine Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr., this facility will regenerate revenue on a commercial basis for Subic and even boost logistics for port development. The starting line? Around 200 to 300 highly skilled jobs with room to scale into entire downstream industries.
I believe the original concept, although it is funded by the U.S. Congress, it will be FDI. So it's a foreign direct investment concept. We can envision a private entity going about it on a commercial basis so that they can hire people on a commercial basis. Depending on the scale, initially about 200 to 300 people, highly technical people. But then there are downstream industries. Of course, they will have to build access to port facilities. It will regenerate revenue on a commercial basis for Subic. It will increase our trade flows.
What's actually being made here? Not just bullets, battlefield chemistry. The facility is expected to produce various ammunition calibers, along with critical explosive chemical precursors like nitrocellulose and nitroglycerin. These aren't just military-grade supplies, they're the backbone of self-sustaining defense logistics, which are exactly what countries need if they ever get cut off during conflict. The U.S. isn't just helping its ally, it's helping itself build faster access to munitions when time matters most. Here's the timeline bombshell. This was decided months ago, quietly. While the official deal was just finalized, both countries had been laying the groundwork behind the scenes. President Marcos confirmed the U.S. Congress had already signed off on the production plan long before it went public. It was only a matter of when, not if. And now that it's public, the strategic picture becomes clear. This isn't a reaction, it's a preemptive realignment of defense priorities. Still wondering how serious this is? Listen to the leaders. On July 22nd, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump declared, "We're going to end up in a few months with more ammunition than any country has ever had." He wasn't bluffing, he was pointing to this very deal. And just a day later, President Marcos said, "The Americans are helping us with our SRDP. Even if we did not get help, we'd be doing this anyway."
We didn't do any work on that. That had been decided a long time ago. Not naman a year ago, but almost a year ago. We decided we already had decided. And like I answered when we were in the Oval Office, kasama ito, tinutulungan tayo ng mga Amerikano sa SRDP natin, our Self-Reliance Defense Program. That's really something that we were going to do anyway. Kahit wala tayong katulong, gagawin talaga natin yun. They've offered to help, so.
Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Teodoro made the stakes clear back in March. We are facing a common threat, which now is the overreach of the Communist Party of China. These aren't just statements, they're signals. Subic Bay isn't just getting a military revival, it's becoming a central node in a 21st century security industrial network. The US gets forward capability. The Philippines gets independence and industry. And together, they're sending a very loud, very clear message to the region. We're building now, because tomorrow may not wait. How did a former colony become one of America's closest military partners in Asia? To understand today's Philippines, United States ammo deal, we need to rewind the clock. The Philippines was a U.S. territory from 1898 to 1946, part of America's early Pacific Empire after the Spanish-American War. But this colonial past evolved into a deep military bond after independence was granted on July 4th, 1946. A symbolic date tying both nations together in freedom and soon after in defense. The alliance wasn't built overnight, it was linked into history. In 1951, the Philippines and the United States signed the Mutual Defense Treaty, MDT, committing both countries to mutual defense in case of external attack. That same strategic trust led to the Military Bases Agreement, 1947 to 1991, granting the U.S. access to key Philippine military installations like Subic Bay and Clark Air Base, massive Cold War assets that anchored America's Pacific dominance for decades. The bases are gone, but the strategic logic never disappeared. But what happened after the bases closed? The alliance adapted. In 1998, the Visiting Forces Agreement, VFA, revived military cooperation, allowing rotational U.S. presence and joint exercises on Philippine soil. Then came the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement in 2014, which opened up access to more Philippines military sites. Got a major upgrade in 2023, expanding access to 9 strategic bases across Luzon, Palawan, and Cagayan, a clear pivot toward frontline readiness. By mid-2024, the U.S. had committed $210 million toward EDCA base upgrades, fueling everything from hangars to humanitarian aid infrastructure. Why the sudden acceleration under President Marcos Jr.? The stakes have changed. After years of strained ties under President Duterte, Marcos Jr. has firmly reaffirmed the Philippines' U.S. alliance, especially as China's actions grow more aggressive. His administration has opened doors, signed deals, and fast-tracked security cooperation. Since fiscal year 2015, the U.S. has delivered over $463 million in military aid to the Philippines, and in August 2024, Washington announced another $500 million, targeting maritime domain awareness, drone capabilities, and coastal defense. Enter Balakatan, the symbol of rising readiness. Once modest in scope, the Balakatan, shoulder to shoulder, joint exercises have exploded in scale. In 2025, they involved over 18,000 troops, coast-to-coast amphibious drills, live fire training, and coordinated command missions. This isn't just practice, it's preparation for real scenarios in the Indo-Pacific, with a focus on territorial defense and interoperability. The message is clear. The alliance is not just ceremonial, it's combat ready. Meanwhile, the Philippines is not waiting on anyone. It's building itself up fast. Through the Self-Reliant Defense Posture, SRDP, the country is revitalizing its local defense industry, aiming to reduce dependence on foreign suppliers and develop its own advanced systems. The SRDP Revitalization Act, signed in November 2024, accelerated procurement of cutting-edge weaponry, with priority on missile systems, surveillance tech, and indigenous manufacturing. Money talks and defense is now a budget priority. The Philippines approved a record-breaking 271.9 billion pesos, $4.65 billion, defense budget for 2025, and that's just the beginning. The ambitious Re-Horizon 3 Modernization Initiative plans to pump 2 trillion pesos, $35 billion into the armed forces of the Philippines over the next decade. The goal? Transform the AFP into a credible regional force that can defend territory, secure maritime claims, and stand shoulder to shoulder with allies, not just in policy, but in firepower. The Philippines-U.S. alliance isn't just surviving, it's evolving into a high-stakes, high-tech partnership built on history, hardened by strategy, and forged for the future of regional stability. From colonial roots to cutting-edge coordination, the two nations are not just partners, they're co-architects of Indo-Pacific security. Is this new Philippines-United States ammo facility a shield, or a sword aimed at Beijing? To China, the answer is obvious. With Subic Bay just 1,000 kilometers away, this new facility isn't just a supply hub. It's an offensive capability in striking distance. Beijing views this as part of a broader encirclement strategy by the United States, heightening its long-held narrative of containment. And while Washington frames it as defensive, Chinese officials warn this move will only amplify regional instability, not reduce it. In security terms, we've entered what experts call a heightened dilemma, where actions meant to deter conflict may actually provoke one. Could the South China Sea become the flashpoint where this all collides? That's the concern. This deal directly intersects with the Philippines' maritime tensions with China, particularly in the West Philippine Sea, where Filipino fishermen and naval patrols frequently face Chinese harassment. For Manila, this facility is a step toward deterrence and defense of sovereign waters. For China, it's a red line. Beijing has already slammed the expanded EDCA base access and expressed fierce opposition to potential deployment of U.S. Typhoon missile systems, a mobile, long-range precision strike platform that could threaten key Chinese assets. The more this builds up, the smaller the room for error becomes. But what if the biggest threat isn't military, it's political and economic? Inside the Philippines, not everyone is on board. Critics argue this deal is a step backward in sovereignty, turning the country into a manufacturing node for the U.S. military-industrial complex and a potential target in a future U.S.-China war. They cite 1991, when the Philippines proudly dismantled U.S. military bases as a declaration of independence. Now, some fear history is reversing, not through treaties, but through deepening entanglement and foreign dependency. The fear isn't just missiles, it's markets. China is the Philippines' largest trading partner, and history offers a warning. After South Korea installed the THAAD missile system in 2016, it faced a wave of Chinese economic retaliation, from banned tours to shuttered businesses and blocked exports. Now, Filipino officials worry the same could happen here. Tourism could drop, projects could stall, and Chinese investment could quietly vanish. It's a geopolitical gamble that may come with an economic price tag. And then there's the bigger regional question. Are we witnessing the unraveling of ASEAN neutrality? As the U.S. boosts security initiatives like the Pacific Deterrence Initiative, PDI, with a whopping $9.9 billion requested for fiscal year 2025, some analysts warn of growing bloc polarization in Southeast Asia. The Philippines is aligning more visibly with Washington, while others try to stay neutral or balance both sides. If too many countries are forced to choose, it could fracture ASEAN unity and leave the region more divided and more volatile. What the U.S. sees as alliance building, China sees as encroachment. What the Philippines sees as defense cooperation, critics see as sovereignty erosion. And what started as an ammo deal could now be a flashpoint for a much bigger power struggle, not just between nations, but over the very future of Asia's balance of power. Is this the beginning of a stronger alliance or the start of a new regional arms race? One thing is certain. The PHUS ammunition production deal is a strategic inflection point in the Indo-Pacific. More than just an infrastructure project, it's a signal to the world that the Philippines and the United States are not just allies on paper, but active partners in shaping the future of regional security. In an era defined by power projection and maritime pressure, this deal marks a bold shift toward collective preparedness. But with every move forward, the risks move closer. While the agreement gives the Philippines a much-needed boost for defense and reestablishes America's logistical edge in Asia, it also raises the stakes. China's disapproval isn't just diplomatic. It could escalate into economic pushback, strategic countermeasures, or greater tension in already contested waters. The path between deterrence and provocation is razor thin, and both countries will need steady hands on the wheel. So what's next? That's where diplomacy meets defense. The long-term success of this project won't just depend on how many rounds it produces, but on how well both nations manage the messaging, the pressure, and the power dynamics it brings. Navigating this new chapter will require constant dialogue, regional cooperation, and an unwavering commitment to international law. If done right, this facility could become a blueprint for balance, one that strengthens security while avoiding escalation. The ammo may be stored in Subic, but the real power lies in how it's used, why it's there, and whether it brings peace through strength or tension through miscalculation. Thank you for tuning into our channel. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis of global issues.